In this video, I want to talk specifically about how unequal our United States House is today. I've mentioned in some of the other videos some of the numbers, but I want to take this specific video to share exactly how unequal is our House today. Now, there's two ways to measure inequality. One is to talk about it on a relative basis, okay? And the other one is based on absolute numbers. Now, on a relative basis, this really deals with percentages. Now, I've mentioned before that it takes 183 voters in Montana to equal just 100 voters in the state of Wyoming. So when you go head to head, that's about an 83% difference. But the Supreme Court, in the cases that we quote on our website at apportionment.us under the Resources tab, talks about a percentage which is calculated based on taking an ideal district. And by ideal, what I mean is you take the average of all of the 50 states and all of the different representatives, and you come up with what the average district size is. So take our population as of 2000 at 281 million or so, divide that by 435, and you get around 650,000 people. So that 650,000 is what's called the ideal or average district size. So then what you do is you find out which states have, which is the state that has the least number of people in it for a district, and which state has the most number of people, and then you compare those on a percentage basis, and here's what you get. When you look at the difference between Montana and Wyoming, you get a relative difference of 63.38%. That is the number that if you compare against what the Supreme Court in 1983 in Karcher v. Daggett declared as unconstitutional was 0.6984%. So you can see that a fraction of 1% was already declared unconstitutional, but yet we now have disparity levels that exceed 60%. So if you take the 63.38 and divide it by the 69.6984, you get a disparity level that's 9,100% greater than what was already declared unconstitutional. So clearly this is way, way out of bounds. Now, the only way to remedy this particular issue of relative disparity, the same standard and measure and calculation that's already been used at the Supreme Court, is to add representatives to the U.S. House, which that has the effect of shrinking the average district size across our country, which I'll talk later about why that gives us a significantly better representation on a number of different fronts. A lot of the things that you probably complain about vis-a-vis government, I'm now convinced can be solved by adding numbers to our representation so that the representation is closer to you and me as voters. But primarily, it's going to create far, far better equity. Now, that's on a relative basis. Now, on an absolute basis, that looks at actual people. And I want to keep in mind here that we're talking about numbers here, but let's keep in mind these are real people. These are real voters who are being disenfranchised because of this current frozen House size of 435. And we just absolutely should not put up with this anymore. Legally, it's wrong. Constitutionally, it's wrong. We need to fix it. But here is the actual number of people difference between Montana and Wyoming as of the 2000 census. 410,012 people. 410,000 people different from Montana to Wyoming, and they each get one representative because our House is so small at 435. 410,000 people are being disenfranchised right now because of this model. Now, you might be thinking, this is terrible. We have got to do something about this. Well, the lawsuit, we're working on it. But here's what's worse. It's going to get even worse. They're predicting at the 2010 census that this number is going to get up to about 450,000, okay, according to 2010, okay? You know what this number is going to be in 2030? In 2030, This number is projected to be around 630,000 people. And 2040, 2050, because again, we've frozen this House at 435 members, so no matter how big we get as a country, there is no more representatives right now based on this 2 USC Section 2A law that's on the books right now that freezes the House at 435. We keep growing, but all we do is keep dividing by the same 435, and these districts get bigger and bigger and bigger. Some districts are now a million people. They're going to be 1 million people. How can one representative represent the interests of 1 million people? It just simply is not possible. And something that, because it's preventable, we can make these district sizes smaller. It's not enshrined in the Constitution. We need to make this change, and we have petitioned the court to make this ruling so that Congress can truly address this issue, which they've been unwilling to address these many, many years, to increase the House so that we can have better and more equal representation. So if you want to learn more, check out our website at apportionment.us.